What's up, everybody? It feels like it just started yesterday, but your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man has come to an end. Before we get into my final breakdown for the show, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my Daredevil Born Again breakdowns next month. And of course, just the daily videos until then, but enough from me. Let's get into the two-part finale. Episode 9 started as we checked in on Otto Octavius in prison. He gets a visit from Norman, and this scene was great from the jump. I love how they have Norman using his cloth to grab the phone, just highlighting that arrogance he carries around. But their history is revealed through Norman taunting Otto as he's acquired all of the tech that he had in that little warehouse, and if you ask me, all the tech that Norman needs to form the Sinister Six. Norman's not the only one going after that tech, though, as the 1/10 are after it too, and that's of course from the intel they got from Chameleon in last week's episode. But the focus is on this episode, because this turned into one of the coldest scenes in the entire show. Big Ben Donovan is going nuts trying to get the Oscorp truck, and the chase is headed straight for Nico Minoru. She was just strolling down the sidewalk, and when she sees the car, she grabs her amulet, but we see Spidey's reflection in it as he's her luck this time around. Once he's got Nico taken care of, he goes back for the 1/10, but when he sees Lonnie, he loses focus. Then the Scorpions show up, and so, of course, a huge fight breaks out, but also Spidey freezes because he sees the Scorpion for the first time after his true scare. He snaps out of it in time, though, and saves the day again, this time saving Big Ben. Then while Spidey keeps Scorpion occupied, Lonnie goes for the Oscorp truck, and this is where things get good. He gets in there, and it was recklessly searching around and causes a chemical leak. He emerges, seemingly fine somehow, until he takes a hit straight to the chest, or seemingly straight to the chest from Scorpion. But Jeff Trammell hit us, the audience, with a triple fake on Lonnie dying as he's truly becoming Tombstone, and Scorpion can't break skin. That leads to Tombstone and Spidey teaming up, and when you get to thinking about it, it's pretty bittersweet because it's probably the last time we're going to see these two on the same side. But we get another great fight here until Lonnie is trapped under some construction beams that Scorpion knocks loose. That was the third and final fake out, and the one that was most believable to Peter in the show as he snaps, hearing Norman in the back of his head going ham on Scorpion. This was truly one of the most tragic scenes for Peter Parker in this show, as in a sense, he lost one of his best friends, Lonnie, and his mentor, realizing Norman's way isn't the way at the same time. Tombstone, he even has to stop Spidey from finishing the fight with Scorpion for good. Then after the fight, Pete checks in with Nico and things have cooled off between them as she understands the why of his lies now, partially because she is her own, and it's implied we'll get her revealing her powers to Peter in Season 2, but not just yet. We jump to Norman, who calls Pete to check in, and he acts like a genuine mentor once again, planting his mindset in Peter when he's at his weakest, which, ironically, Norman's the one who pushed him onto this thin ice as he admits his rage took over, and all he heard was Norman telling him to get the great respect that comes with great power. But Norman's just bad news for Spidey. Right after he gets off the phone with his personal hero and mentee, he welcomes a group of scientists into his office, and they're no ordinary scientists. The notable one was Dr. Whitman, who we've seen throughout the show working with the interns, and now he's working on replicating Spidey's DNA, and he's just about finished thanks to the blood sample that they took last week. Alright, before we get into episode 10, I wanted to take a second to thank you for stopping by the channel. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and let me know what you thought of the Spidey finale down in the comments below after you're done checking the video out. I appreciate it greatly. Now let's get into the final episode of Season 1. The final episode got started like so many of these episodes did, Pete and Lonnie mysteriously absent from school, but this time it's a little less mysterious for Lonnie as he was kicked off the team, which cost him a championship, and seemingly he dropped out too. Peter, on the other hand, he's just stopping a little Grand Theft Auto before school, and he's doing it for the people, while Nico covers for him. He makes it to class just in time, maybe a little late, and he's happy about his A- on the project until Amadeus starts bragging about his 5.0 GPA, which That's absurd. Go outside, you fucking dork. But anyway, the internship is coming to an end, and so Norman is getting personally involved as the projects come together as one. That's in the form of Project Monolith, which provided space travel faster than light speed. Essentially, it's Norman Osborn's personal Bifrost, and it immediately had me thinking Clintar, 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 the symbiote throne world. But before anything can happen, Doctor Strange portals in to put a stop to Osborn. He tries reasoning with the businessman, but to no avail as the symbiote we saw in the premiere returns as well as Strange, and that all makes sense in a second. They have a huge fight, breaking the controls from Monolith and leaving Peter to make a quick change to save some lives. He gets Dr. Whitman out of there, something he'll surely come to regret once he learns what he's been working on, and then he has some fun. He joins Strange in the fight, and when Strange tries sending the symbiote into the dark dimension, Spidey goes too. Then once he's back, Strange goes for a trip with the symbiote too, a trip to the past, specifically the day Peter Parker got bit by a spider. He went back there because of the Eye of Agamotto, and I believe it's the spider Whitman created at Oscorp with Peter's blood that bit Peter after escaping that lab. Anyway, I feel like I'm thinking too much about that situation. It feels like it's more simple than I'm letting it be, but it was a great action sequence here too, except for, and he isn't necessarily out of pocket, but Spidey was being mad annoying, bossing Strange around with what to do versus the symbiote. That doesn't matter though, as they send it packing and smash the portal, which still ends in a loss for Spidey as a bit of the symbiote got through. But after everything that happened and all the warning signs throughout this season, Pete decides it's best if he stops working with Norman. He gets some positive reinforcement on that decision though, as Harry decides he's going to start a company and recruit bright young minds like Peter for a good cause. Then Peter suits up and Spidey pays a visit to Doctor Strange. For one, the doctor's just ashamed he allowed that incident to happen, but then Spidey gets to talking and fans of Across the Spider-Verse should have been perked up in their seats because he's talking about canon events, events that no matter what or who interferes with them are bound to happen no matter what again. Oh, and Iwadu's watching over him too, which was a fun little Easter egg. But moving on, we see Norman head down to Project Monolith, or what remains of it, where he finds the symbiote sample that made it through. That's going to be huge when or if this show does the symbiote suit arc, because Norman, he's going to be one of the most knowledgeable people on the aliens, at least I'd assume so because of this. Regardless, Harry's serious about this company and he's trying to put together a list of all-stars, starting with the 4 Oscorp interns, Pete, Amadeus, Jean, and Asha, but there's more and get ready. We got Max Dillon, who will eventually become Electro, Ty Miranda, which is short for Tina Miranda, and she's insanely talented as an engineer and roboticist, all while suffering from cerebral palsy. Then there's Priya Agarwal, who's a member of Girl Labs, just like Ty Miranda, so there's another thing to keep an eye out for in Season 2, those Girl Lab Easter eggs. Next, we've got Ned, and of course in the MCU, he's kind of like Peter's Genki, but in here, in the show, and in the comics, he's the Hobgoblin, and I assume that's coming in the future. Then there's Tiberius Stone, the future founder of the company Alchemax, Kaiden Nixon, a mutant with the ability to manipulate time, Ripley Ryan, a future or current, who knows, human Kree hybrid who's got a beef with Captain Marvel, and finally, Diane Jenkins, aka Spider-Woman. That's Harry Osborn's target list for Webb, the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, and we'll see how many he gets. Amadeus laughs the invite off from his new Oscorp office. Jean, she's thinking about going undercover again because, like I predicted, she was in fact working with Daredevil, going undercover with the Oscorp internship. But not everyone gets to just move up in life, and not everyone gets to just start a company. Some have to take what they can get, and that's what Lonnie's doing. We saw the death of Lonnie Lincoln this week as he threw his Letterman jacket in the trash, mirroring Peter Parker throwing the Spider-Man suit in the trash, with Tombstone taking over Lonnie and the 1/10th. Then Nico's up in her bedroom exploring her powers and connecting with her mother. The spell she was working on here was Spirit of the One I Hold Dear, return to the land of the living. And again, she's calling out to her mother who's passed away. Season 1 came to a close as the problems are starting to pile up for Spider-Man, and both are seemingly in the same prison. The first is Doc Ock, who's losing his mind behind bars, and as the concept for fusing his octopus octopus features to his spine. Then you also have Aunt May sneaking off to go visit none other than Richard Parker, Peter's father, and her brother-in-law. That was just an incredible cap put on an outstanding season. I mean, it blew me away, and it still has so much potential for season 2 and beyond after executing so well in season 1. Norman's got the symbiote, Nico might start using her powers more and tell Peter about them, and Harry's bringing in even more heroes and villains, or I guess I should say potential heroes and villains. It's going to be epic. But that's going to do it for my final breakdown of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1. The show What If aside, Marvel Animation has knocked it out of the park with these animated shows, and this one shocked me because I was honestly concerned about it going into that premiere. Let me know what you thought of the final 2 episodes and the show as a whole, though, down in the comments below, and make sure you have a great day.